All right, so good morning. We will start in our comfortable seated position, whether it's crisscross applesauce or bound angle, whatever we need. We'll close our eyes, we'll pull the shoulders back and down. Breathe all the way deep into our bellies. Let some of that tension melt away as we breathe. Check in with how we are feeling right now. Good. And then let's open our eyes. Inhale, lifting our hands up to the sky, and then drop the shoulders, shoulders away from our ears. Wiggle the fingers, stretch out our hands. And then exhale, let's reach those fingers forward. Chest come forward and then down, hinging at the hips, a little forward fold here. Good. Keeping those chests low, let's walk the hands around to the right. Bring our chest over that right knee. And pressing that left sitting bone down in toward our mat. And slowly, let's just crawl those hands all the way around to the left. And then let's walk those hands back to the center. 2 more breaths here. Let's inhale, lengthen in the spine. Exhale, just crawl those fingers forward a little bit, lowering the chest. Drop the head. And then on our next inhale, we'll walk the hands backwards, rolling our way up. Yeah, and then we'll bring those hands back behind our butts. Open up the chest, press into those hands, lift the heart. And then coming back up, we can even stretch those fingers out as we lift the hands up, wiggle them. Good. And then from here, a little twist. Reach your hands up to the sky. On that inhale, lengthen in the spine, and then exhale. Let's take the hands over to the right. Lower that right hand back behind us. Left hand can find the knee or the thigh. Lengthen on those inhales. Deepen the twist on the exhales. Gently moving those ribs back. Top of the head reaches toward the sky. And then slowly coming back to the center. Good. Inhale, lifting with those fingers. And then exhaling to the left. Little twist here. Good. And coming back to the center. Uncross those legs. We'll bring the feet out in front of us. Give them a little wiggle if we would like. We'll bend the knees, place the feet out onto our mats, and we'll just hug underneath those hamstrings. And think about connecting, starting here at the crease at our hips, and then just slowly bringing that tummy toward the thighs. The chest is going to peek out over the knees. Hugging tightly here, keep that back nice and straight, and then slowly as we exhale, we're just gonna crawl those feet or slide the feet out a little bit further. Take a bit of time, and then maybe we crawl them out a little bit further. What we're doing with our arms is just really connecting our lower torso with our upper legs so that we can keep that hinge in the hips as opposed to a round in the back, which will help get those hamstrings a little bit better. Do one more deep breath here. And then we can release those hands, bring those knees back up into our chest a little bit. Good. And now we'll extend that left leg out in front of us. We can go out to the side just a little bit. Right foot comes in to the thigh for Janu Shirshasana. Good. And then we'll turn toward this left leg. Hands can come to the sides of the legs or just walk down the thigh, however we would like. And again, goal is bringing the chest toward those toes as we hinge at the hips, using that breath. And much like before, if we need to bend that knee just a little bit because our hamstring is really tight, totally fine. We need to listen to what our body needs instead of forcing it into submission in something that it can't quite handle today. Good, and then slowly, let's work our way back up, keeping those legs right where they are. We're going to place our right hand back behind our hip, and we'll inhale, lifting the chest, press into this left foot, into the right knee, up into stargazer pose. Opening up the chest and the hips toward the sky. Good. Exhale. Let's lower back down. We'll keep this right leg exactly where it is, and we'll tuck that left foot back behind us by our butts for deer pose, or like a 90-90. Here, hands come right in front of that right shin. Let that breath just help our hips relax a little bit. And when we're ready, if we're ready, walk those hands out a little bit further. Begin to fold forward, gradually letting those hips open up. Beautiful. Inhale. Let's help ourselves back up. Lifting the heart. Again, let's bring those hands back behind us. Now we're going to focus on this left leg. Let's press the knee in toward our mats. Hands can come back behind us, opening up that heart. Then we're going to tuck our tail just a little bit, and you'll feel, hopefully we'll feel a little bit of an opening in that hip flexor. As we exhale, maybe we lower ourselves down, maybe we don't. Either way, direct that breath all the way down into the quad. Good. And we'll slowly help ourselves back up to the top. Hands can find the floor in front of the right shin again. We're just going to slide both of those legs back behind us. Where we find ourselves on our bellies. Hands are underneath of our shoulders here. Feet are soft behind us. Pressing into the floor gently with the hands. We'll scoop that chest forward and then up, using those back muscles as well to help lift our heart. Pull the shoulders back. And we'll find ourselves into a cobra pose here. Thinking about pulling the chest forward so that we keep the low back nice and open. Beautiful. And then exhale, let's lower down. Good. Press back into a child's pose. Let's swish the feet over to the right. Lower ourselves down onto our butts and find Janu Shirshasana on this side. So right leg is out long. Left leg we tuck in toward the thigh. Find those sitting bones underneath of us. And then we'll turn toward that right leg. Again, if we need to bend the knee, we totally can do that. And then lengthen on that inhale. Exhale, we'll begin to fold forward. And then slowly we'll inhale, helping ourselves back up to the top. Keep our legs where they're at. Left leg goes back, or left arm goes back behind our butts. Inhale. Let's lift those hips. Open up the heart. And then exhale. Lowering ourselves back down. Our left leg stays where it's at. We'll tuck that right foot back behind us in our deer pose here. Flexing this left foot. Take a breath or two. Let the hips relax a little bit. Get situated. And then when and if we're ready, we'll just slowly walk our hands forward. Find where we're at on this side, on this day, right now. On our next inhale, we'll help ourselves back up and bring those hands behind us, pressing that right knee down in toward the mat. Pull the shoulders back and lift the heart a little bit if we would like, and then think about tucking the tail. Help open up the hip flexor, help lengthen in that quad. Good. Let's help ourselves back up. Whew. Hands will come down and we'll slide those legs back behind us. Find ourselves on our tummies. We can give ourselves a little shakeroo if we need. Good. From here, hands are underneath of our shoulders. We can go into our little cobra from here, or if we would like, we would like to do a little bit more strength help, we can lift those thighs up off of the floor into upward facing dog. Honestly, you can do whatever you like because you're a grown-up. Everything I say is merely a suggestion. We'll exhale, lower our chest back down to our mats. Give ourselves another little wiggle. Good. And now we can just place our hands underneath of our forehead. Think about lengthening in the back of our neck here, keeping the shoulders nice and soft. I'm going to take this left knee out to the side here. Just rest it on the ground, opening it wide. Taking several deep breaths here as we allow gravity to do all the work this time. Good, and from here we'll just wiggle those toes back down, And we can give ourselves a shake if we need. Take a breath here in the center. And then when we're ready, we can just move that right knee out to the side. Couple deep breaths more. And then we'll slowly walk that right foot and leg back to meet the left. Give it a little shake. Hands come back underneath of our shoulders, and we'll press back into a child's pose. Knees can be close together, or they can be wide apart. We'll get different results on either, and they are both correct. Let's walk those fingers out in front of us, really stretching those arms. And on our next inhale, we'll lift our hips. We'll step that right foot forward into lizard pose, into a little lunge here. Hands are on the inside of the foot, and that left leg is soft behind us. If it's tough on our knee here, we can either roll up our mat, give it a little extra cushion, or give it that left foot a little bit more pressure, and it'll lift the knee up off of the ground just the tiniest bit. A little bit more active in that leg, but it will save our kneecap if it gets painful. Our heart is proud. Good, and now let's exhale, moving our hips over that right knee. Our left knee, our right toes come up toward the sky for half split here. And again, think about that hinge in the hips, the tilt of the pelvis. As we fold forward, hands can come to our thigh or to our shin. If we have a block, outdated atlas. Good. Inhale, coming on forward, back into that lunge. And then exhale, press backwards. And we're just going to move with our breath now, moving ever so slowly, super deliberate as we move forward on our inhales. Exhale, we'll go back into that little split. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, gently moving back. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, we'll come forward. Exhale, we move back. Good. Coming on forward, our hands find their spot to the inside of that right foot. In our lizard pose here. And now let's place that right hand on top of the thigh and we'll move those toes out to the corner a little bit. Using that hand to help open up the shoulders as we lengthen in the spine so we're not crunched and turning. We're proud and opening up toward the sky. Good, and once we get that twist set, we can concentrate on that left hip sinking down, millimeter by millimeter, lowering down toward our mat. And our heart is still opening up toward the sky. So we're going in two different directions. We have to be very conscious of our movement. And one more breath here. And then we'll slowly come back to the center. Step back all the way to child's pose. Stretching the arms out in front of us, wiggling those fingers forward, sinking the chest down toward our mat. And now, lift up, we'll step that left foot forward. And we'll wiggle our way into lizard on this pose, or on this side, in this pose. Hands are in between or inside of that left foot. Fingers are wide, pressing down to open up the shoulders behind us. Heart is proud. Hips are gently sinking down in toward the mat. And then our back is opening up back here. Tail is pointing down toward this heel, not back behind us. Good, and now let's slowly walk our way back for our half split. Hips come back over that right knee. Our left toes are pointing up to the sky. Hands can come to our thigh or to our shin. We slowly fold forward. Take one more breath here. on our next inhale, we'll come forward into that little lunge again. And with deep, purposeful breaths, we'll just rock back and forth, exhaling into our little split. And inhaling into our little lunge. Let's do one more so we're all together. Inhaling forward and exhaling. Coming on back. And then inhale, we'll come forward, hands come inside of that left foot. Manage our way into our lizard again. Proud chest here. Left hand will come to the thigh. Lengthen on that inhale. Let's just help open up those ribs and the chest up toward the sky. Again, once we get that twist where we want it, we find the balance that we need, we can begin to gently sink that right hip down in toward the mat as we lift the heart toward the sky. Do one more breath here. Big inhale. Complete exhale. Slowly come back to the center. We'll step back into our child's pose. And let's swish the feet over to one side. We'll come back onto our butt. Swing those legs around. Now let's open them up nice and wide. Now they don't have to be as wide as you can possibly get them, but they're not going to be closed. So we get to find that spot where we're at today. And then we'll use those hands to help kind of turn the pelvis, get those sitting bones into the mat. And then from here, hands will come to the floor, right inside of our legs. Toes are pointing up to the sky. And exhale, just creepy crawl those fingers forward. Stay here for one more breath. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale. Maybe fold a little bit deeper. And then on our next inhale, slowly help ourselves back up to the top. And we'll gently bend the legs. We can even use our hands to help them out. We'll bring them together and we'll roll up into our little ball. And rock back onto our backs. Open up those knees. Bring the elbows in between and we'll hold on to our pinky toe side of our foot for dead bug. So flexing the feet, using those hands to encourage the legs to open up and lower down toward the mat. Shoulders and head. Relax. Tail comes down so that we can see if we can get that whole spine, as much of it as we can, to imprint into our mats. And let's release those feet. Let them press up toward the sky. Fingers will reach as well. We'll wiggle our fingers and our toes. We'll roll around in our wrists and in our ankles for Krakalasana. Once we've gotten all of the pops and the wiggles out, reach one more time as we inhale and then exhale, slowly lowering them down. Once we get down to our mats, make ourselves as long as we can, reaching those hands, pressing the feet. And a big exhale here. Release everything. Our hands can come down to our sides. Our body softens. We close our eyes. We relax in our jaw, in our eyes. Give ourselves these next few minutes to just be still. If we are ready, please not before, deepen our breath. Bring gentle movement into our fingers and our toes. We slowly come back into our space. When it's time, we'll bring those knees into our chest. We'll roll up into our ball, into our egg. Rock over onto one side. We'll help ourselves up to seated. A moment to check in with how we are feeling after our practice. Take this time to hold on to that peace and length and openness that we have built and cultivated. Bring our hands together at our hearts. I thank you so much for joining me today, for sharing your time and your energy and allowing me to help you through your practice today. I hope that you feel even just the tiniest bit better than when we started. I wish you a very, very happy day, a fantastic rest of your week. The light and the divine in me recognizes and respects the light and the divine in each of you. And when we are together, whether physically or virtually, we are one. Namaste.